Hey everyone, welcome along to my 11th battle report. This one is a game against the Ogre Kingdoms, my first ever time playing the Ogres. And it's from a guy, Scott, who came down to visit Dumbarton War Games Club for the first time. There was no other opponent to play him, so I did have to start a night shift just after it. So we were a little rushed, and I think the game ends just after turn 4. Or is it 5? Can't remember now. Turn 4 or 5. But we do get through a fair bit. There's some excitement. So I will go into the game. I didn't get army lists, but I'll just go through them as I go through deployment. This is just a quick picture of the table. And into deployment. So on his left flank, he has 2 stone horns. I had no idea what they did. I found out during the game though. They're pretty cool. I've never seen them used before, even in bat reps. I don't think I've heard them used before. So we'll see how that goes. He also has a unit of 3 ogres. Into his centre, he has a unit of 3 lead belchers just sitting inside the forest there. He then has another unit of 3 lead belchers, and at the back of that, he has a unit of Iron Guts with his BSB, his Lord level character, which I can't remember the name of. He also has a Fire Belly in the unit of Lead Belchers in the forest there. You can see the flames sort of rising up. I was wondering what that was. At the back, just sitting off the board there, he has a unit of Scouting Man-Eaters. And on his flank, he has another unit of 3 Bulls. And you can see his other Fire Belly in that unit of Lead Belchers as well. My deployment, on my right flank, I have a unit of 5 Dark Riders, my Bolt Thrower, a Dreadlord on a Dark Pegasus. I have 16 Repeating Crossbowmen. I then have 20 Witch Elves. Sorry, it's not Witch Elves, it's Sisters of Slaughter I'm using them as in this game. I've never used the Sisters of Slaughter before. So I'm using 20 Sisters of Slaughter. Then I have another 16 crossbowmen with a level 4 Lore of Heaven's Sorceress. Then I have another Bolt Thrower, a War Hydra with Fiery Breath, and on my other flank I have a unit of 10 Cold One Knights with my BSB, a unit of 5 Dark Riders, and a unit of 5 Doomfire Warlocks. So my opponent wins the role to go first. And this is just a picture of my spells: Ice Shard Blizzard, Harmonic Convergence, Comet Cassandra, sorry, and Chain Lightning. After Vanguards, I just push up my Dark Riders on this flank and redeploy a little on this flank, and you can see where his Man-Eaters on that flank have scouted into that forest. As I said, he got first turn and moves up his Stonehorn. Actually, he charged his Stonehorn at my Dark Riders, who elected to stand and shoot, and didn't do anything, and he failed charge. Did need 11 or 12, so was unlikely, but had he made it, I would have been regretting it, because I found out slightly later in the game that it does 3d3 impact hits. And had he made it, because it was an 11 or 12, I think, it would have been 3d3 plus 3. So that would have been interesting. In fact, it wouldn't have been interesting. It would have wiped out that unit of Dark Riders. Over here, he moves up. His other Stonehorn comes up to go around the building. This is actually in the middle of the move. You can just see that he split his Ogre movement tree up, but they are all as far forward as the front 4. His Lead Belchers and Fire Bellies just come up. And over here, his other unit of Bulls comes up. And you can... He then goes into his magic phase. The only thing he casts is Flaming Sword of Ruin. Is that the one that gives him +1 to wound and magical attack, flaming attacks? Can't remember. I think it's Flaming Sword. He casts it on one unit of his Lead Belchers, which promptly take aim at poor Fluffy my Hydra and kill him. So my Hydra is dead top of turn 1. Ah, poor Fluffy. Anyway, his other Lead Belchers take aim at my Dark Riders and aren't so successful, so 2 of them die. They pass his panic test and it's on to my turn 1. and I rush up to the flank of this Stonehorn, just outside its line of sight. I'm going to take a couple of pot shots at it. My Dreadlord flies out into the middle of the field, daring anything to charge him. I've got him set up with quite a killy combo. 1-up rerollable armor save. No, sorry, 1-up armor save. 3-up ward against shooting and magic. And he has the Ogre Blade, so he's strength 6. So I don't think I'll have too much trouble. If he wants to waste turns shooting at me with lead belchers, I'll be quite happy about that. Or if he wants to charge me, I think I'll come out of that okay. I move my cold one knights up because they passed their stupidity test. And over here, I don't move too much, and I wait on the man-eaters coming down. Into my magic phase, I cast Ice Shard Blizzard off on the man-eaters, and I cast Harmonic Convergence on my unit of Dark Shards. I then try to cast Comet of Casandora, which gets dispelled. So that was unfortunate. In my shooting phase, I managed to put a wound on the Stonehorn, depicted by the little hoop sitting on its horn. Quite handy for placing wound counters actually. And over here, I do a large bolt for my bolt thrower, which hits the Stonehorn. It wounds the Stonehorn. It does 2 wounds to the Stonehorn, but all wounds are halved. All multiple wounds are halved, which I didn't realise on the Stonehorn. Which is another cool rule and ability that I didn't know about. So it only does 1, which is fair enough. We then go into my opponent's turn 2, and he declares a charge on my general with the Stonehorn. He moves up his bulls and his other Stonehorn head up toward my lines. I don't think he's worrying too much about 3 Dark Riders harassing him. Here you can just see the Stonehorn making it into my general. As the unit of Iron Guts couldn't charge because of the lead belchers, he also tried to charge his Tyrant, that's the name, couldn't remember that either, his Tyrant from the unit of Iron Guts into my general, but he failed the charge. He only went about 2 inches, and you can see where he ended up there. So he's now sitting out on his own, and other movement, his other bulls just come round the house, and his man-eaters move out of the woods. Because they march, they actually take dangerous terrain tests, and his unit champion takes a wound. I think it's his unit champion. Yeah, as you can see that, I've got a little hoop sitting in his head for a wound counter, so he takes a wound. And over here, his lead belchers take some shots and kill off some Dark Riders. The whole unit, in fact. His other lead belchers open up and kill a whole rank of my Sisters of Slaughter. His Fire Belly goes into the magic phase and casts a fireball at my Cold One Knights, killing 2. And something else goes off and kills my bolt thrower. Can't remember what. It was the bolt throwers, because there's a bolt thrower on top of each of the Stonehorns, and one of those went through and killed my bolt thrower. That's what it was. So we then go into my turn. I just swivel a bit with my archers. This is my turn 2, yeah? Okay, so swivel a bit with my archers to aim at the Stonehorn. Figure if I fire enough shots I can roll some 6s and do some wounds. My Dark Riders up in the corner there, they also turn around to attack, just take off some shots at the Stonehorn. More shots, more 6s, hopefully kill it. Oh, I forgot to mention, in the combat phase the last time, the Stonehorn didn't manage to get through my general's 1-up armour, and I did a couple of wounds back to it, so that was that. My sisters here, I think they actually may have tried to charge the Stonehorn and failed. Yeah, they actually tried to charge the Stonehorn. I did fail, so it leaves my general sitting there with 1 wound actually. It must obviously did a wound through my armour. Sorry, this was over a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I've just not had a chance to, about a week and a half ago, and I just can't remember the game too much because I was in a rush. So bear with me if I do appear like a senile old man. I am 30 this year. Yeah, so sisters failed the charge. And here, my Cold One Knights make the charge into this unit of lead belchers, which I am very happy that the lead belchers are slow to fire, so they fail they don't get to stand and shoot, which is very handy. Over here, Doomfire Warlocks come up, just to march block and maybe fire off a Doombow at the Man-Eaters, while someone sits there and reads a book. Don't know who that is. Over here, next round of combat, the Stonehorn does another wound to my general, so my general's sitting on 1 wound, and I can't remember, did I kill the Stonehorn here? No, the Stonehorn is on 1 wound I think at this point. Then we go into the magic phase, and he gets off, I get off Chain Lightning on his general, which goes through and does a couple of wounds. It then bounces onto the unit of Iron Guts and kills 2 of them. However, it was a miscast, and as you can see, it was a Dimensional Cascade, large strength 10 template. I wipe out a load of elves, and I don't get sucked into the warp, for which I was very, very thankful. It's always annoying when that happens. But the Dark Elves I don't care about, it's just some shots. Over here, I do another wound or 2 to the Stonehorn from my shooting, but it's negligible at this point. I get a bolt thrower into the Iron Guts, and manage to kill off another one. And then we go into combat, and this time my general slays the Stonehorn, so I was quite happy with that. Unfortunately, it's going into his turn, and my general is sitting there precariously on 1 wound. In this combat, the champion challenges, my BSB accepts. My BSB has a Sword of Anti-Heroes, so I'm at +1 strength and attack for the Fire Belly, being in that unit. And that might actually be the Fire Belly, I'm not 100% sure of the Ogre models. Either way, at the end of the combat, I do nothing to him, he does nothing to me. I kill off 2 of the Lead Belchers. I win this combat by a fair few. I have a charge, 2 banners, several wounds. They break, they flee, I do catch them, and I overrun straight into the Iron Guts with the BSB. So that was basically what I was hoping for. I've lost slightly more Cold One Knights than I would have preferred to had I been making that charge, but we'll see how that goes. And this is how things look at the top of turn 3. So turn 3, we move in, he declares a couple of charges here. His first one with his Stonehorn, and he makes it into the flank of my Sisters of Slaughter. Then his general charges into my general, who is on 1 wound, and I didn't realise that however he's kitted out, he is strength 7 on the charge, so he gets strength 7 impact hit, which could kill my general outright, which could be pretty funny. This is just a picture of the Stonehorn making it in. At this point, I'm not too worried here. My Sisters of Slaughter, because the strength of that Stonehorn, I am +1 to hit, so I'm hitting it on 2s, I'm +1 to wound, I'm wounding it on 5s, so there's a chance I can put through a few wounds. And you see his Man-Eaters here, and his other unit of Bulls just coming around, and his other unit of Iron Guts reforms and comes across this way, looking like they're going to try and take the flank of my Cold Ones. He then goes into his magic phase, and he can't remember what it is he's cast, if it's Flaming Sword or if it's Fireball, or I'm sorry, I really can't remember. I believe it's Fireball, but he dimensionally cascades. He doesn't pull himself into the warp, but it does do a wound to everything, which unfortunately, because there was a couple of wounds already on there, kills off 2 of the Lead Belchers. Yes, it was a Fireball, and he fired it at my archers who survive. Only take 1 wound. And in this combat, so this is just an action shot. Would have been better without the hoops, I suppose. But he charges in. He does his strength 7 impact hit, so he wounds. And I make my 5 up armor save. I roll a 6, so that was handy. We then go into the combat. I have 4 attacks, so I can kill this easy. He's on 2 wounds, so I don't mind doing that. I am on 3s to hit, and this is my roll. 4 attacks on 3s to hit. No, sorry, I hit with everything, and I'm on 3s to wound. He's toughness 5, I'm strength 6. 3s to wound, and I roll 3 2s and a 1. Thankfully, because Murderous Prowess, I get to re-roll my 1, and I roll another 1. So, perfect. This is what I rolled for my wounds. Sometimes the dice just ain't with you. He then goes through and does 2 wounds to my general, and I make 2 5-up armour saves. So my dice desert me for my wounding, but they come back and save me for my armour save. So, yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I would have rather doing a couple of wounds first turn and killing him off, which would have saved me a lot of hassle. But that's how it is. So we both standing there at the end of that combat. Over here, impact hits. He rolls quite terribly. He only kills off 3 of my models. I do have a 4-up ward save in close combat, so I don't mind. I then do my attacks and I leave him on 1 wound. He wins this combat, but I am steadfast and my general's there, and I successfully make the test to turn around and reform and face his flank. Now I've got a lot more attacks, so I should be able to kill him in the next round of combat before anything else happens. In this combat, the champion fights my BSB. I have another attack and another strength because he has his BSB in there. Unfortunately, I flub my attack and he kills my BSB, which was awesome. Excellent. Thanks very much for that. Yeah, so that's that. We then go into my turn. My Doomfire Warlocks move up to maybe cast a fireball off again, hopefully get something. Dark Riders come round to march block and take some shots at this unit of bulls. Then we move around here so that my archers can shoot through. If you'll please ignore my cat. Yeah, so where was I? Sorry, I paused the recording for a second there. Yeah, my archers... Yeah, stupid cat. I've forgotten everything. Yeah, my archers just move around a little bit, and they're going to take some pot shots at the ogres, hoping they're not going to be getting anywhere. After that, my other archers take aim at some bulls and manage to drop one. Bolt thrower takes a shot and drops another one. Over here on the Stonehorn, I needed to put 1 wound through. I did quite a few hits and I rolled 4 5s to win, so I was not too bad. He fails his armour saves, or fails at least one of them anyway, and the Sisters of Slaughter kill the Stonehorn. Now this is the first I've ever used this. Well, these are Witch Elf models. Well, technically the avatars of war models as Witch Elves. I really don't like the models, but since I got them up and painted, I'm just going to use them. But Sisters of Slaughter are actually way better than I thought they were going to be. So I may actually invest in some of the GW ones because I really do like the models and start using them. I really do like the rules. The +1 to hit and wound is quite fantastic at times. So I'm enjoying that and I'll probably be using them again. Over here, my general fails to do the final 2 wounds to this. I think my general does 1 wound to the Tyrant. And then the Tyrant strikes at the same time as my Pegasus. The Tyrant kills me and my Pegasus kills the Tyrant. So the generals met in the middle of the battlefield. My general performed quite poorly, but my Pegasus, not wanting to let my general down, manages to put the final wound on the Tyrant, and both of them die in the centre of the battlefield. We are then on to the second combat with these guys, and the Iron Guts really go to work on my cold ones. My BSB, which I said died, I guess didn't. He must actually just have fallen over. I must have killed the champion. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. It must have been a draw the last time. He probably should have been shot, is why he was lying down. So I kill the champion. He does a number on most of my cold one night. Whatever the wins are with my 2 banners versus his 2 banners, I make my break check because I lost to combat. And unfortunately, sorry, it was only 3 turns this game we got through. This was how things looked at the end of turn 3, and I had to rush off to work. So when points were counted up at this point, I had scored more points than my opponent, so I won this game. But I'd say, all in all, it's probably a draw because he was going to get the points for my unit of Cold One Knights shortly. He had my 2 units of Dark Riders. I had 1 unit of Dark Riders, and that was a bolt thrower. I had his general, a unit of Lead Belchers, his 2 Stonehorns. Also, though, he did have that unit of Man-Eaters sitting there ready to come across, obviously looking towards my back lines, as you can see in the bottom left there. So, still not sure what would have happened there. I'd like to think I'd have won this one anyway. But I'll let you guys decide for yourselves on that one. That was this game. Thanks for the game, Scott, since I know that you subscribed, so thanks very much for that. And I'll see you guys on my next battle report, which is against Lizardmen. See you then.